I'll begin this afternoon session with a brief introduction. Welcome to the Canadian Institute of Forestry's National Electronic Lecture Program. My name is Sharon Young, and I will be hosting today's session. Today is Thursday, May 15th, 2025, and this is the last session in the e-lecture series entitled Greening Cities Together, Insights from Allied Professions on Shaping Urban Forest Futures. This series is brought to you by Tree Canada. The CIF-IFC is very pleased to collaborate with Dr. Gina Bardakjian and the team at Tree Canada to host these webinars. Today's webinar is titled How Montreal Faces Climate Change by Implementing Tree Planting and Greening Solutions. A special reminder that the ISA-certified arborists are eligible to receive one continuing education unit for this webinar. Please email electures@cififc.org with your full name and your ISA certified ID in order to obtain the ISA continuing education unit. Once we verify your attendance, we'll send your information to ISA for them to process. Today we have Dr. Gina Bardakjian, Director of Research and Engagement from Tree Canada, to introduce today's e-lecture speaker. Over to you, Dr. Gina.
Thanks, Sharon. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you again for taking the time to join us today. And thank you, Sharon and the CIF, for partnering with us on these knowledge sessions. I have the pleasure of introducing our speaker today, Guy Trudel, architect and urban project designer for the City of Montreal. Guy graduated from McGill University School of Architecture in 1994 and is a member of the Quebec Order of Architects. He has established sustainable expertise for tree planting and development of the public space. His professional designs of major retrofit projects have trained him to tackle urban and human issues with better biodiversity and more nature-based green solutions in mind. Thank you, Guy, for sharing your time and insights with us today. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, everybody. I'm glad to be here with you with these lectures. So my presentation is entitled Nature-Based Solution, Implementing Biodiversity and Resilience to Montreal. I'm here to show you that how we are trying to do more than just planting trees and greening to make the city just more beautiful, but to really give you the idea that our city is being better and more resilient city to face climate change through sustainable development with the end goal of reshaping our city streets. And because we are going to be working with the, well, I will, next slide will be to locate, wait a minute. There we go. There we go. Just an idea to give you an idea where we sit. We are located, Montreal. Maybe those of you might not really see where we are. So Montreal is in the east end of the country, facing located in the St. Lawrence Valley and being hydraulically wet by the Great Lakes. So we see the very strategic situation of Montreal. Montreal is an island, so maybe many of you may not know, but it's specific to our territory and environment. It's surrounded by water, so that's why we're going to be talking about how we can handle rainstorm water in our on our territory. So next is just an idea that that's planting trees and greening map, just to show you that the organization of the agglomeration of Montreal is a city. There's the city of Montreal and its 19 boroughs that you see in color, and this one shows the how there's red spots where we are going to be handling climate change. And among these boroughs and the city of Montreal, there's 14 other cities that we called it reconstituted, that came from the fusion and diffusion in the 2003 era. So who we are in terms, and then where I stand with my team, it's we are in the unit that we call the streets design and planning. It's where we do the everything that we do to change our infrastructure in the street, in the right of way, that's the public right of way. And we are about 30 people, a bunch of 30 people, all in planners and urban and design, engineers and technical staff. You see us there when we go touring in bike lately. What we do, like, the idea is why planting trees and greening cities. So the lecture will be not just on trees, but also on green actions that we have been taken so far to prepare Montreal to climate change. So through the benefits that the tree can gives us in terms of carbon well, and in the benefit that we can use trees and planting, trees, shrubs, and everything, that in this idea that this is essential to fight heat islands, erosion, and to preserve diversity through species, so etc. So just an idea like that here is the idea of redesigning cities under the idea of that city can become the forest, like what we call urban forest. So all this can be obtained through several guidelines that I just want to underline here, like swales, rain garden, to enhance the urban tree cover, and all this is benefit to this to provide us with ecological services, improve the water quality, and better air quality. All this is where I'm going to show you an example that we have been doing so far. So, and all this here is to make Montreal a more resilient city. That's the idea here. So here in 2009, I took this idea because I went along the street lately, and I'm going to show you what we are here in 2025. That was here like 15 years ago. You see the path, the bike path that goes through the park with the cars and the lane and the vehicle circulation, and the industrial heritage of Montreal with the housing. So it's typical of the central district of Montreal. So in 2019, we went with this. We just moved the bike from the park and move it in the street. So we do a little bit of on the parking lanes, but we didn't get enough space at that moment to put it green. But then today in 2025, that's what we have. So it's now it's with what we have, the planting in the central mall. So that's provide more security for the bikers, but also it provide us to bring more greening in our cities. That's a picture that I took just in the beginning of spring, like weeks ago. So you can see like the trees were blooming, but the idea is this, is like more green is going to be better, and we're going to benefit everyone from these type of infrastructure that we are providing, all of us in the city of Montreal. So all this is to make a more livable city, and you can see like this is this is a great picture that I wanted to share with you. So what we do here is I want to show you, just before I enter specifically with techniques and other specific examples that we did so far, is to show you what we did in the year of 2000, as at the beginning of the new era, for the renewal of a business district. This is, I will go through this to some project, and this idea of adding trees and greening places and streets to favor a major shift into reshaping our streets and sharing spaces for every users, in the idea of what we've been marketing as the idea of a sponge city, the idea of being like more resilient. So that's what you see in just before the year 2000. you can see like what the city was that looked like that was around the in central city, just by the old Montreal, below the commercial district of St. Catherine Street. And this one is the what we saw at that moment is the downtown underground highway. That's what we call it, the Ville de Montréal highway. You can see that that created a seam, a frontier. So in the years of the 90s, people in Montreal was thinking about how we can redevelop all this sector, this district. We call it the Montreal International District, and it's an era that brought, following it at the end of 1990s, at the beginning of 2000s. So I work on that project, and I'll show you. And here you can see like how impervious surfaces and the space that cars was taking. So the idea was to change that into more green spaces and more livable space for everyone. So just further away, there was the Victoria Square. That was his layout at the until the year 2000. So you can see like the square was like a park, but wasn't part of the city civic layout. So we turned it into a project to reshape the Victoria Square to a real urban civic center. That was the idea, that the new space would be connected to the city and to provide more benefits for everyone. So that was an opportunity to make an urban planning statement to bring a better presence between the square, surrounded street, and building presence on public space. So that's another view, just before I go to the actual layout now. So you can see like here, you're going to see a picture just after. That's what a view that we have as a pedestrian walking along the highway that was underground, that was very bleak and very uninvited environment to live in. So we turn it into, that's a picture of 2020, that was the picture you saw before. Now has been turned into urban forests with real trees and native trees that come from the St. Lawrence River. All this has made the city more livable, and it was a successful project at the time when it was inaugurated. It gave path to a new era of how we can do things and change the infrastructure of the 60s into a new 2000 and 2025 now infrastructure. So that was one. That we call it a Royal Square. You might know it. And this here is the Victoria Square, with the new road and the series of trees that were there, but we just shape it to be able to make a statement on the civic layout around the building. That was a new square, and the moment that we turn it into the new shape, everybody was able to get in the space, and it was a real success. But that kind of project, like there's another view from the entrance of the metro entrance. That's the Guimard entrance that was given by the French government from Paris, and we turn it into, and we put it in more values for everyone. So what it says, what it does, these kind of project in the year 2000, it sets the condition for to better our urban environment. So from that moment, it was impossible to go back to space for car. So what we did, it was space for trees, users, people, citizens, and for everybody. So it gave path to innovation and experimentations. And this Montreal International District was a major makeover. So refitting, beautification, and greening project. It's this restoration project at the time was about $100 million of investment, but the payback was $1 billion with the investment through the district, and it helped to join Old Montreal to Commercial Street on St. Catherine. That was like a bridge in the city for a new district refitting. So that I will give you from project where we can using this idea and this idea of the sponge city. So one street like that you can see the alignment of trees with one species at a time. That's something that we have been changing over the decades. So to bring multi-species planting, I will come to you with this later on. And this urban design project set the path for years to come with what I say more innovative streets and urban layout. That's that's what we do in our sections, in our units. So right now, greening streets and planning design overview. I come into you like that. For the last 2 decades, the years 2000 and the years 2010, we have been focusing on beautification and greening, mainly because before entering the years of the 2020, where with the climate change and everything that's been into play, we turn into green infrastructure to tackle seriously what we are facing right now with the climate changes, to transform and adapt our living environment to secure more and better urban resilience. So that comes with some ideas, some guidelines, like how can we provide more volume of soil for the trees? Because we know that the trees in the on streets are facing crucial issues in terms of growth and resistance to salt, to winter problem, to lack of water and lack of volume to grow. Because we know that a mature tree needs about 30 cubic meter of soil, of space, of volume of soil to grow better. And actually, most of the trees in our street, but that's what we are going to change, are about 1 to 2 cubic meters of soil. So what we want to do is what we have been doing so far in the 2010 is we have been developing ways and tools to enlarge these tree pits into 10 cubic meters. So that's what we see here. So it's a calculation between the canopy and the volume of soil that the tree needs. So here, several new species of trees, this cultivar breeding species developed in our nursery in Montreal, and these species are taken back by the private nurseries where we buy our trees for different in the garden and parks department through boroughs in Montreal. So that's different types of new breeds, new types of like pine, salix, ginkgo, linden, maple, poplar, oaks, and etc. That's the things, and all these are native and makes better species to sustain the hazards and problems that the trees are facing when they grow through streets. So one thing I want to show you is some example that we've been doing in this project dates from 2013, 2014. That's what it looks before we did the street entirely, because what we do the same streets. So that's the streets nowadays, like that's 2016, but it's like that today, where we were able to enlarge. You see it here, where we can enlarge sidewalks. We can plant trees, a series of trees, and we did this 2 rows of trees on each side. We narrowed the roads, so we took 1 lane of a vehicle movement. We turned 1 lane into a bus lane, dedicated priority bus lanes, and moreover, that these trees are planted into what we call enlarged tree pits. These are 10 cubic meters trees. I will show you the detailed drawing later on. So that's one example, and then we have many of them that I just choose a few of them. And we have View Street as well. That's the East End Montreal, where we had like the boroughs came with lands to develop into housing from industrial lands that was there in the years in the 50s and 60s. So we turn it and we have an opportunity to make it better. So that's what's built, like series of apartments for residential. And what we turn it into, we changed the way people were moving through the street, from the street before, the streets after. There was one street, so we turned it in local street, and this one was, we gathered the vehicle at one point, but we were able to plant a series of trees all along the streets in front of the new housing. So it helped to provide a new neighborhood and a better neighborhood. And at that time, we had also an opportunity to transform a old train antenna that belonged to the Canadian National Train Company from the view street. That's a view that we saw in 2007. So you can see the Olympic Stadium on your right, and we turned it into a I would say a green and recreational antenna axis on a stretch about 1 kilometer long. So you can see we provided this site with the rain garden, with bicycle path, sidewalks, with street furnitures and kids area. And all the shrubs and the grasses were perennial and natives. That's the idea around here, and to create a new environment for the biodiversity as well. That's the idea here. So next is how we can provide biodiversity to the city of Montreal. That's what I said before. It's just not tree, but it also the green action that we have been taken so far to prepare Montreal to climate change. So just one idea this year, from climate change to resilient city. So what we are facing here from a view from the St. Lawrence River through the city, and in a situation where a rainstorm would come down to us and pour and provide flooding and things like that. So how do we do to resist that kind of issues? So right now we can see that trees is a way to doing that, and trees is more than and also with trees comes the way we plant and the way we're doing everything. So it comes with the idea of the natural ground cover. So we want to get rid of impervious surfaces to transform the city to be more resilient, not to also to make it more pervious, more able to gain the water that runs off from the rains. So that's the idea here. So, and also these way of planting to make the city greener is to facilitate the idea that we are facing some climate change issues, like more frequent drought periods, short-term and heavier rains, floodings, and also stronger winds, like small hurricane that comes into our cities so far. So something that we didn't see very few before, but now it's becoming more frequent. And also all the problem that trees are facing with disease from the insects, like the emerald ash borer and the Asian longicorns, so that you might know. So faced from the climate urgency, it's acting against a climate crisis. It's reducing carbon and greenhouse gas emission, and adaptation to resilience to climate change. So the city, Montreal, has been taking seriously these issues and tackle a way to go in a better direction. So why trees are so cool? That's I like this picture, is that they can absorb and store carbon dioxide. You might know all this, and also the most process that the trees can give us is the evapotranspiration. It's the process that the trees can take up water from the ground and release it through surfaces and leaves and things like that. So that becomes like a a big air conditioning device for the environment, and also creating a shade for building, reduce energy demand, and also that stuff that is so important to face what's coming for us. So this has been tackled by the climate change 2020-2021. That's the plan that we have been implementing to be moving to a resilient and zero carbon city. That's the idea, reducing the greenhouse gas emissions in 2013. So that our target is to attain 55% under the 1990s levels, achieving carbon neutrality by 2050. Yeah, that's it. Increasing resilience and collective adaptation capacity, and also gathering Montreal into gathering the active community. That's to bring everybody together, and that is not just the action of one people or one group, but it's the action of everyone. Everyone is concerned. So the climate plan 2020, I will just give you a few targets, 2030 and 2035 targets, like the number of trees have been growing. We have a target of 500,000. So far, we're almost at 2020, probably more because it's the 2024 figures. Area of protecting natural sites. All this is to benefit to the biodiversity. So we want to attain 10%. So far, it's almost 8%. But also, we want to face the vulnerability condition to different climate issues. So the target, what we want to aim at is the decreasing of these conditions. But so far, we see that the heat waves are increasing, but devastating storms are decreasing, but drought and floods are increasing. So that's the actual condition. And also, we want to have we want to take action on heat island area. So in terms of decreasing, so that the decrease is about 0.4 to 0.5%. So far, we say we are heading in the right direction. So if I follow here, one of these ideas with the 2050 land use and mobility plan is the plan d'urbanisme. Is one of the guideline is to converting mineralized surfaces into greening and equality to achieve the zero net objective. That's the idea here. And what can we do with this? Well, one of the action that we've been taken is to remove and change Montreal schoolyard with participatory project into demineralization. So we brought concerned citizens, and we turned our schoolyard into small parks. That's the idea. And all this idea is to protecting and developing the urban tree canopy. That's the idea, because the urban, see if we can achieve an urban forest, that could be tools to tackle the stormwater runoff. That's the one idea, that the urban forest could help us doing that, and knowing that the mature tree could alone store hundreds of gallons of water during storms. So another action that we took is that we want to improve is to plant 500,000 trees. So far, we have been planting and about half of it. So that's the idea until 2050. So that comes with projects like what we had at the Concordia University a few years ago for tree and shrub planting with the association. It's called Verdi. And this has helped us to develop new tools in Montreal, like this one, the Montreal canopy map. It's a tools that we have in our for us to able to record and have figures in order to see how it's going and how we can do better from areas that are more areas that are more vulnerable to drought and heat waves. So that's the idea here from the tools. So also we had adapting So the principles of sponge cities that I talked before, as a priority for vulnerable to flooding. So the idea we were doing a public consultation on the future of water in Montreal. That gives us the idea of determining where the flooding would be done, would be having their problems in Montreal. So we have mapping, we have tools that can help us to identify the areas that where we can take actions. So one idea is here, the Parc d'Anstro, Pierre d'Anstro Park. It has been turned. It's a new park in Outremont. It's an old train warehouse turned into a shipyard. It's been turned into a housing and developing projects. So the park is a water square. That's the idea here, and we have been implementing resilient parks all over the city so far for the last 5 years. I will show you that just in a moment. And other action that we are taking, other guidelines and other ways to do that is through industrial activities that we want to restore contaminated soils, that the constant issue when we come to do more construction infrastructure in our streets, in our parks. We always be facing contaminated soils. So what we do with phytoremediation, it's with Salix. It helps with the biodiversity in eastern Montreal. So it's been carried out since 2016 by the group of research through the Botanical Garden of Montreal. So it's really promising. So this type of things, it's also the one of the main species is the Salix. So far, I'm going to overview some technical ways to greening and planting streets. So things like that, sidewalk curb extension schemes. So you can see here, more space that we took from the road and the streets and the roads. So we turn it into green space. These are the what we call the at the extent that's been implemented on intersection streets, more or less, but it's been growing very fast for the last 10 years. That's the new way of doing things, and these curbs will become resilient and will tackle the it's going to become the rain gardens as well. So that's one of the idea of the drawing is the normalized rain garden curb extension drawing. It shows here how we've been providing tools for everybody at the city to make for those who are rebuilding streets. So we tell them how to do these type of things. That's the idea here. You can see like the idea of having like the tree pits that is more available with more trees, more space for storing water and air and soil. So it's a 1 meters deep pit that we can have for us. So next one is the tree pit design for street infrastructure. It's it's a normalized. It's a technical legal document. We call it devis technique. And see here is one drawing, a simple tree pit technical drawing. You can see the reinforcement of the sidewalks slab that runs like a bridge. So it enables us to have more space for the roots network for the tree into the soil that is underground, so under the sidewalks. So here is another another type of tree. This one is combined, so we can have more space and have more surfaces that are provided for greening. So one thing I want to show you is maybe the picture is not very good, but we can see that we have been doing on digging roots and to show the underground condition of the root networks of existing trees. We went with this research with Guillaume Couture. It's an urban forest engineers in the Park and Landscape Services. Colleagues of us, and this picture shows like how the root network excavation shows that the existing tree was confined with the curbs of a central mall. So we can see that the trees grow where there was soil, and it grows with the network with roots that was in compression and root that was in extension, in order to provide the stability of the tree was able to be stable by itself. So that's another picture here when we went with a work project for excavating the sidewalks for the electric network. So we can see when we did the hydro excavation, we exposed the roots, and we were very impressed by how the tree can find its way with its roots to make it to provide its own stability and to have a nice canopy, even if there's not much space available for them. So that's another project. So I come here into the various researches that we've been undertaken. We've been undertook for the last decades. So one of them is the McGill University research. That was the research was aiming to analyze and study a new type of soil mixtures with biochar, root modules like this one here. So that's in the enlarged tree pit. That's what we have been doing, is we just provide, so that this one is our root modules by various companies that you know, like Green, Blue, and Deep Root, like this. And we do some research with the porous concrete sidewalks as well with the tree pits. And this one is a view of the enlarged tree pits that I've talked to you before, with the reinforced slab. That's before the pouring the concrete, and you see that the soil is underneath, and once the tree is planted, it can grow with more soil and more space. And this one is the research project with the Polytechnic. It was a monitoring with the Papineau Avenue. Papineau Avenue is a project of 1916, and it runs through a stretch of 2 kilometers, and we were able to implement 38 rainwater runoff retention basin throughout the street on one side. So I will show you later on. It's very telling. So another research that we've been doing with LIEU, it's a nonprofit organization dedicated to greening. So it's about urban soil and greening covers on Laurentian Boulevard in Unsécurité Borough. And the study was aiming to obtain plantation in tree pits and to tackle the issues between native and what we call horticultural plantation, and to achieve social acceptability as well, and also how the cover, the greening cover, can help make the carbon sequestration. The idea is also behind that is to be able to have greening surfaces more and more, but to have less maintenance time to provide for them, because the teams and the garden teams in the boroughs have less and less money for maintaining our green surfaces. That's an issue right now. So now I'm coming to a nature-based solution. That's what we've been doing so far in the city of Montreal. That's a new development with the Papineau project. That's been like a spark for everybody woke up and saying that now we need more in the 2015, 2020, and with the climate change and the awareness of everyone. So we've been doing more a resilient public space. That's the example here that we have So the idea is to bring water instead of flooding water into house of people. We bring it to a multi-purpose spaces like that, and it can retain water and provide from flooding into people's house. So that's the idea of the Pierre d'Anseau Park. It's a retaining of about 640 cubic meters of water. The water that would flow from the upper level of the district. And that's the idea of this plain where people playground. Most of the time people play there, kids. Once the water comes, well, it flood. People are not outside, but still you can have people or kids like that playing in the water. That makes it very interesting for everyone. So another one is the flood of Macadam Square. It's 160 cubic meter capacity of retaining waters. So through sites, water jet, and streets. So all the water that comes around and pour would come into the square. It's a very popular square in the Plateau Montréal. It's a very booming neighborhood and very popular. So you can see it here. It's like this and like this. And there's another park, Dickymore Park. It's another one that is a little bit smaller, but this one is more recent. You can see the water comes from the street, and it shows like a very nice space for everyone, for the surrounding neighborhood. And this one was very successful with this. It really helped to see that we are getting to what we call the urban forests, or this idea of greening and planting trees for a better environment and things like that. So right in the center of city, we can have like streams like that, and it really looked like in the forest with streams and all that stuff, but mainly in cities like that. So other examples are rainwater green infrastructure that we've been building. We call it IVD, infra verte drainante, and we can have it like that with some rain garden through the construction of new buildings. We did also some extended curbs with bringing water into the rain garden and things like that, like this flowered space. That's the idea of communicating these infrastructure with people. So this is the Papineau Avenue, where we get 38 bioswales and over 10,000 square meter of green surfaces. So that's the aspect of the street in 2011. So we turn it into a big and green boulevard, and we stretch the numbers of lanes, and we enlarge the sidewalks to almost 5 meters wide with the rain gardens there, the 38, and it's adjacent to a big park in progress right now. So just a few pictures here, from the bioswales with the greening and the shrubs and the grasses here, with the overflow drains, and the coming from the biodiversity that I was talking, with the insects, butterflies, and all sorts of new nature with birds and nesting and things like that. So we did that. So there's another example of extended curb extended that has been vegetated with the shrubs and the grasses and flowers. Others like that here. And this one is an example of Augier Square. It's a very mineralized and impervious surfaces, very unfamiliar and bleak for the neighborhood and the environment. And we turn it into that kind of project that was been taking so far. So we really put more trees, more surfaces, more impervious surfaces, rain gardens, to catch and to grab all the water, the stormwater runoff from the street, and turn it before going to the sewer. So here is the last thing that I want to show you. The last 5 minutes before ending is what we call the Brébeuf Street. Brébeuf Street is a main typical street in Montreal. And we have this project with the Lyon, the town of Lyon in France. We have a partnership, and we turn it to water storm trees. So this idea is to have street trees that would help us to tackle the water running off from some water into the street before entering the sewer. So what we have this is the context of the street in this local neighborhood. It's a local residential street with bike path, vehicle parking on street, major streets, great canopy, and also the aerial network cable distribution with electricity and communication. So that's typical. And what we want to do is I identify a few existing trees where we're going to enlarge their tree pits. So, but the tree pits will be turned into a resilient tree pits. So that's the idea here. You can see that's an example that we had, but it's, well, I can call it a stormwater tree. So the water flows from the road and goes into the rain garden, and it benefits the water. It benefits to the root trees, the tree roots of the tree. Here are some sketches and some drawing that we've been doing. So you can see the tree, the existing tree sits there, and there's a depression in the rain garden that has been taken over some parking spaces. So when the water runs from the one side, from the upper level to lower level, and we keep going like that. So we did some drawing. That's the project in 2023 that's been conceived and planned, and we built it in 2024. It's so far it hasn't been planting yet next year, but we have 4 of them. So we were able to identify four trees and 4 rain garden that we've been doing so far, like that. And here's the pictures. So what we built. So the trees is there. We enlarged this tree pit, so it benefits for its root network. But then we use it to bring the water into the rain garden. So with the overflow, that was the existing drain from the street that we took, that we kept, and this is one another. There various change between one of them, but they are the same type. So the water would come, and then so it's not shaped entirely finished, but so far we will be reshaping the earth and the levels, and we will be planting these rain gardens next week. It's coming very fast, like this. We can see the overview, but this like that, and then so this and a picture of what we have, like here, an image that is going to look like with a little place, a placette. It's an image to sum up our vision of our city. This is a place where every user on the street, pedestrian, bikers, drivers would share the space available with more equity due to his vulnerability. More vulnerable you are, more space you will be given to you accordingly. So that's the idea of greening. So here he sums up this idea of having a more livable cities right there. Everyone has his space, dedicated space in the city, and I hope that will bring us a better environment for all of us in Montreal and elsewhere. And we hope that we are heading in the right direction. That puts an end to my presentation, and I hope that you enjoy what I said to you. So if you have any question, I'm open to answer those. Thanks. Here to you, Sharon.
Thank you, Guy. That was a great presentation. It's truly inspiring to see how Montreal has taken such a proactive and innovative approach to address climate change through urban greening. Before moving on to the questions, I'm going to launch a post-webinar survey. Just a reminder that there are 2 questions in total, and you'll need to scroll down to see the second question. All All right, Guy, the first question for you in the Q&A pod is, what are your minimum soil volume requirements for trees to ensure that trees can grow larger and to maturity?
Well, the minimum soil from the literature is 30 cubic meters soil, cubic meter volume of soil that is needed. That's about the quantity of soil that a tree has when it grows in a forest or in a park environment. So what we are aiming with the street, because the street we cannot have 30 cubic meter of soil, we have been enhancing the tree pits from 2 cubic meter to 10 cubic meters, and we hope that underground, that what we saw with the picture that I show you, that the trees would be able to develop is a root network underground with the streets, and underground the sidewalks, and through the backyards of the residential areas, and underground there would be a very nice network of roots that the tree would benefit from. So that's the idea here. So since we know what's the minimum, but the minimum would be for us, for so far, it's 10 cubic meters of soil, and we hope that would help the trees to grow bigger and to provide, and the idea is to provide more canopy so far. Thanks.
Thank you, Guy. The next question for you is, for the last example, where there were existing mature trees in the new GI beds, was special arborist services needed to protect the existing roots, which are in the construction zone?
Yes, protection for, well, if we had to undig roots from existing trees, as I saw, it would be done by hydro excavation. That's the thing. But we are providing special services with we gave mandates with special with urban forest engineers that help us to tell the contractor how to tackle trees and their roots when they are on the construction site. It is an important issue, because so far we've been seeing so many trees that it has been damaged by the construction maneuvers with the big machines, and that is we are very concerned with this. But yes, there are special arborist services given through these things, and we are protecting the trees as much as we can. That's an issue.
Thank you, Guy.
Thanks.
Here's the next question for you. How flexible are subsurface utilities in terms of accommodating trees and the space needed for their growing medium? In Toronto, we have many conflicts because the utilities are very risk over.
Yes. Yeah, the subsurface, the underground facilities, utilities like electricity, bell phone, communication infrastructure. It is a very demanding problem so far, and it's flexible in a way where we are able to rebuild what we call integrated project. We were able to move, let's say, the sewer or the aqueduct from where we want to plant a garden or to plant trees, and we are very it is flexible, and it depends. Sometimes it happens that we cannot do nothing. It's impossible. So what we do, we just do greening, but we cannot tackle the water runoff. But sometimes, as I show you, like the on the Jarry Street project that I showed at the beginning, there was an issue with the gas line, so we were able to move the gas line away from the plantation beds, and we were able to plant, because at the beginning with that project, people were saying that we were not able to plant there. So with some perseverance, we were able to give more trees in that trees into that street.
Thank you, Guy.
I hope. Yes.
There's the next question for you. Where you propose less soil volume, for example, less than 30 square meters per tree, do you propose different smaller species, or do you still plant large growing street trees, but accept that they want to maturity size?
Yes, we do. So what we are working on is to provide the tree with some, when I talk about the cultivar and the breeding, so we want to provide trees that are more resistant to the lack of water, to the lack of air, and to when they face disease coming from insects. So that's the idea. So if we cannot provide more soil, we will be working for maybe the type of soil. That's the study, the research that we've been taking with the biochar soil that has been talked about lately. So that's something that is promising for the next coming decades, for having trees that would, well, it's sure that if you look at the street tree, they are smaller than a tree that would grow into a park. But the idea is to choose the right species at the right place. That's how we are doing so far. And also to provide multi-species in our streets. So let's say that we have like 100 trees. So I have a percentage of over, I say, I plant 100 trees. I say I'm gonna use 6 different species, but all of these will have a different percentage. So we will see 20% of one species, 30% of other species, and all this would bring more biodiversity in our streets and in the street canopy as well. I hope it answers your question.
Thank you, Guy. Before we wrap up, just a friendly reminder that this session is being recorded, and the recording will soon be available on our open access e-lecture page. And if anyone has any follow-up questions after this e-lecture session, please feel free to reach out to us and we'll help connect you with Guy.
So, yeah, great.
All right. If there are no more questions, I would like to bring this session to a close. Thank you all for participating in today's webinar session. And once again, thank you very much to Guy for the insightful presentation.
Thank
Bye,
you very
everyone.
much, Bye.